From September 12 through 15, 2019, people from all over Europe, including human rights activists, Uyghurs, Tibetans, pro-democracy activists, and Christians from the Church of Almighty God, held gatherings in Cologne, Amsterdam, and Paris to express support for Hong Kong and denounce CCP atrocities that strip people of their freedom and trample on human rights. Cologne held a China festival from September 12 through 14, over its 32nd anniversary of becoming a sister city with Beijing. When an economic roundtable was held the afternoon of the 12th at the Cologne Botanical Garden as part of the festival, local Amnesty International members and the speaker, as well as CAG Christians, stood at the garden entrance in silent protest, holding signs reading, "Free Hong Kong, release Uyghurs from concentration camps, focus on the plight of Chinese Christians," and so on. This left Wu Ken, the Chinese ambassador to Germany, extremely angry. He demanded that organizers take away the protest signs and drive them off, but was refused. Henriette Rieker, the mayor of Cologne, said that she did not have the right to interfere. The afternoon of the 14th, representatives from a number of groups gathered in front of the Cologne Cathedral, including Amnesty International, Independent Chinese Pen Center, Association for the Defense of Human Rights and Religious Freedom, World Uyghur Congress, the Church of Almighty God, and Association of Tibetans in Germany, and each spoke out in support of Hong Kong. Sebastian Bartsch, the speaker of Amnesty International in Cologne, said that the Hong Kong people's protests have occurred because of the CCP's long-term systematic disruption and infiltration of democracy and freedom in Hong Kong over the past 2 decades. He emphasized that holding protests during the China Festival was to share the truth about China's trampling of human rights.
Und wir nutzen diese China-Feste immer darauf hinzuweisen, dass es in China auch noch eine andere Realität gibt als die Realität, die auf dem China-Fest gezeigt wird und als die Realität, die Investoren und Unternehmensführer zeigen und thematisieren. Beispielsweise, wenn uns als Organisation, als Menschenrechtsorganisation und anderen nach dem Wunsch der chinesischen Partner verboten werden soll, solche Aktionen zu machen wie heute. Sowas kommt immer wieder vor und wir wollen auch, dass alle auf deutscher Seite, die sich in diesen Partnerschaften engagieren, dass die das richtige Verständnis davon haben, wie die Menschenrechtssituation in China ist.
Tenshi Martin Liao, president of Independent Chinese Pen Center, said that people everywhere have the right to struggle for their own rights, to fight for their freedom of speech and human rights. When interviewed, she expressed her anger at the official CCP media description of Hong Kong anti-extradition protesters as a violent mob, and the CCP's accusation of the US and other Western countries as being instigators behind the protests.
凡是有这样很大规模的群众运动，中国政府当然是非常非常的恐惧。他们用各种各样的这个方式去诠释它。诠释它的意思是不是针对别的，是针对自己国内的老百姓。就说你看看，这是因为外国的势力介入。像这个您刚才说到，中国官方的这个言语就是说，这个香港的运动是受到美国的、英国的这种外国势力的介入，在他们幕后操纵，这种说法是非常可笑的。我觉得中国老百姓有一点点的用他们的脑筋去思维，就应该知道这个政府老是在说谎。
It's widely known that the CCP attained and has maintained its power through lies and violence. In mainland China, it persecutes faith, oppresses activists, dissidents, and ethnic minorities. It always starts with lies and fabricated accusations to drum up public outrage, and then they start their bloody suppression. This is the CCP's consistent dictatorial tactic against dissidents and activists. The CCP called the students advocating for democracy in Tiananmen Square a riot. It claims Tibetans and Xinjiang Muslims are ethnic separatists and terrorists. It suppresses and persecutes Christianity, calling it cult. The CCP has fabricated many news stories since the establishment of the Church of Almighty God to slander and attack it, and it has made over 1 million arrests of church members to date in its crazed campaign. At least 100 have been persecuted to death, while 500 to 600,000 are always on the run, unable to return home. The CCP's overall persecution of religious beliefs has reached a fever pitch in recent years. Many crosses, churches, mosques, and Buddhist and Taoist temples have been torn down and religious symbols wiped away. Millions of Xinjiang Muslims have been put into concentration camps, where they face abuse and indoctrination. Dark clouds press down upon the entire Chinese mainland. The people live in an abyss of suffering. The facts show that the CCP is the world's most evil, dark force that resists God and harms humanity. It is the root of all evil forces. At the protests that day, a reporter interviewed Pastor Roland Kuhn, who has paid close attention to human rights in China for over a decade and takes students to protest at the Chinese embassy entrance every year. He expressed his concern and support for Hong Kong.
Ich muss sagen, ich habe große Sorgen, wie es weitergeht mit Hongkong und mit den jungen Menschen in Hongkong, die dort auf die Straße gehen. Und ich finde, es muss publik gemacht werden. Ich glaube, wir haben alle Angst, Chinesen und auch Menschen von außen, die dort drauf gucken. Wir werden erinnert, ich habe selber es noch miterlebt damals auf dem Platz des himmlischen Friedens, was dort passiert ist. Und ich glaube, viele Menschen haben Angst, dass sich das wiederholt. Ich bin selber in Berlin geboren. Wir wissen, was es heißt, als Stadt umgeben zu sein von den negativen Mächten, also auch von dem Kommunismus. Und ich finde, wir müssen wirklich die Menschen unterstützen in Hongkong, damit China wirklich das nicht anrichten kann, was am Tiananmen-Platz passiert ist 1989.
Roland Kuhn also expressed concern for the persecuted Christians in mainland China. CAG Christians explained the reality of religious persecution in China. Uyghur spokespeople demanded that the CCP immediately close their concentration camps. Tibetan and Mongolian spokespeople decried the CCP's outrageous trampling of human rights. A girl from Taiwan was holding up a sign that said "Chi Nazi" in protest of Nazism with Chinese characteristics. Volunteers with the Association for the Defense of Human Rights and Religious Freedom appealed to the Hong Kong government to reveal the truth and demanded that the Chinese government cease its religious persecution. A CAG Christian also expressed that the CCP's evil deeds are countless, and Hong Kong is currently suffering an unprecedented threat that is at its most critical juncture. Its people have realized that if they don't rise up in protest, Hong Kong will be lost forever.
我们从中国大陆逃亡出来的基督徒太能体会到没有民主、没有自由、没有人权那种被迫害的凄惨生活了。在此，我们支持香港民众争取自由的示威游行。
That same afternoon, there was a spontaneous gathering of young people outside of the RAI Amsterdam Convention Center. They shared the Hong Kong people's 5 demands with those nearby and called out for people to take notice of and support Hong Kong. They also sang glory to Hong Kong. Passers-by expressed encouragement and support for them. September 15 happened to be the International Day of Democracy. An activity in support of Hong Kong was also held in Place Trocadero in Paris. At 2 p.m. local time, representatives from different groups and Hong Kongers residing in France, upwards of 100 people, gathered in the square calling for protection of democracy and freedom in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I'm really inspired by Hong Kong's younger generations. They have taken movement like peacefully, so all around the world, we have to support them.
Je pense que pour les pays comme la Chine, qui est une dictature, comme le Vietnam, qui est une dictature, ils ont toujours peur les voix dissidentes. Donc pour eux, ils considèrent tout ce qui est qui lève la voix contre la Chine, c'est des terroristes. Mais c'est qui terrorise qui? C'est la Chine plutôt qui terrorise le Tibet ou le Turkestan oriental ou les Hongkongais. Donc forcément, nous sommes contre Pékin, contre le Parti communiste chinois.
A CAG Christian shared this in a speech.
Face à la crise démocratique de Hong Kong aujourd'hui, personne n'en est un étranger. En tant que chrétien qui avons fui de la Chine, nous avons vécu la répression et la persécution du PCC tyrannique. Et nous le vivons encore maintenant. Hong Kong et nous sommes tous des victimes des terroristes blancs du PCC. Hong Kong est le dernier lieu de liberté de Chine. Après sa rétrocession, à Hong Kong, la démocratie, les droits de l'homme et la liberté de la presse sont fur et à mesure dépouillés. Aujourd'hui, le PCC veut démolir un pays de système et gouverner entièrement Hong Kong, ce qui ne sera jamais accepté par les Hongkongais. Ce qui se passe à Hong Kong nous fait voir plus clairement, là où c'est dans la main sinistre du PCC, il y a le danger d'être piégé. Ainsi, tous ceux qui détestent la méchanceté et aspirent à la justice, la démocratie et la liberté doivent agir avec le peuple de Hong Kong pour protester contre le gouvernement dictatorial du PCC. Et on doit dire non à la tyrannie du PCC.
The protesters then began marching with signs and flags reading "Stand with Hong Kong, Democracy and Freedom," "End CCP's Tyranny," "Stop Persecuting Christians," and "Close re-education camps." Over an hour later, they reached the Wall for Peace where they continued their appeal. One participant said, "The Hong Kong people refuse to compromise or retreat in the face of the CCP's vast evil forces. Their calls fighting for democracy and freedom continued to resound. The wheels of history continue to roll forward, and darkness can never obscure the light. What the people need is freedom, and freedom belongs to the people." Reported by Eastern Light correspondent Zhang Yi.